most exciting news from the Black Ops 7 Zombies reveal is that it has been confirmed that there's going to be a new Zombies map every single season. So I think this was actually planned for Black Ops 6 Zombies, and that's why we saw the cadence map releases so rapidly at the start of the game until the break for Reckoning. I think that was a test for Treyarch to see if releasing a map every single season increased retention, and it must have done phenomenally, because DLC 1 for Black Ops 7 Zombies will be releasing in Season 1. Now they say during Season 1, so it might be the start or it might be Reloaded. That kind of implies Reloaded to me. Nevertheless, it's going to be very soon after release, so there's going to be no break at all. It'll probably release sometime in December before Christmas, when the player base is at its optimum and to capitalize on the launch hype. Now, there is not going to be a new main Zombies map every single season. As you know, obviously we're getting the farm survival map at launch and in the beta. However, this is the only one from Ashes of the Damned releasing at launch. So basically, other points of interest from Ashes of the Damned will be released as their own separate individual survival maps in the post-launch to fill out those seasons, but it seems like some sections from the future DLC maps will also be sectioned off and released as their own survival maps. But we don't really know which ones are actually going to be released as their own survival maps. There are 8 points of interest on Ashes of the Damned. I'm sure not all 8 are going to release, unfortunately, just like not all of the points of interest on the initial transit were released as their own survival maps. However, regardless of however many release, this is the absolute best case scenario that Zombies could have ever gotten. Because yes, these maps are not going to have a ton of replay value since they're just basic survival maps, but they will spark new life in the mode and mean that there's never really going to be a drought period. There's going to be so much content for this game. They've said this game is going to be receiving more post-launch support than ever before. Now yes, they say that every single year, but according to leaks and rumors, Modern Warfare 4 will be jumping to a new engine, and so Treyarch cannot hold off some content that they have planned and scrapped for Black Ops 7 for a future project they're working on, a future game, because they need to rework that to be on this new engine, and due to technical reasons they just can't do that. So apparently they've been given the heads up from Activision to just go all out with this game and release as much as possible, because with Black Ops 6, for example, a ton of post-launch content got postponed because they were making Black Ops 7 Zombies simultaneously and they couldn't keep up with that sheer amount of content. Trying to produce 2 games at once was always a mistake. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. Now, as you know, some main maps have been leaked for a very long time ago now, which are apparently an alternative nuked Nazi-run New York, which is probably tied to Richthofen's home universe, considering we know he's from a universe where the Nazis won World War II. There's going to be a feudal Japanese temple set beneath an erupting volcano, probably Takeo's map, seeing as his history. There's apparently going to be a Vietnam map, probably tied to Tank Dempsey, and an Afghanistan map, probably tied to Nikolai, judging from their bios. And then we also have a space station map lease that we don't really know if that's tied to any character. It's potentially the finale map, or maybe even DLC 1. We have no idea about the order, and these are just rumored maps, of course, so it is possible that some may be cut or cancelled, but they do align with all of the character bios, so we might be getting 5 main DLC maps, or potentially at least 4 DLCs like we usually would if one gets cut, as well as sections from them will be released as their own survival maps. So this means if we get 6 seasons, we might have 4 with main map releases, and then the other 2 will just have survival maps. But it's also possible in the seasons where we get main maps, there might also be survival maps as well. So for example, if a main map releases at the start, a survival one could release in Reloaded. Maybe there's even going to be multiple survival maps per season, because like I said, there are literally 8 points of interest on Ashes of the Damned, so it is very well possible that all of them could end up releasing as round-based content, and that's a lot, even if just half of them released. So 3 more in its DLCs, excluding farm at launch, that's still a lot, and then the other DLC maps will be sectioned off as well. Now, of course, the DLC maps probably won't be as suited to be released as survival maps, because of course Ashes of the Damned is sectioned up like Transit, so it's really easy to portion them off as their own survival maps. So let me know what you think of that, of course, in the comments below. It means that Black Ops 7 Zombies is not going to have any gap for content at all, and this is just maps. This isn't even including modes and limited time modes and events. There's going to be no break. Content wise, it's going to be crazy covering all of this stuff all year. Now, according to the leaker The Ghost of Hope, the nuked Nazi New York map will apparently be DLC 1, but honestly, I'm not sure if I believe this, because most of the Ghost of Hope's leaks have been incorrect, whether that's due to misinformation or it's just outdated information. For example, he thought that there was going to be a DLC 5 that never materialized for Black Ops 6. So just take this with a massive grain of salt. It could be any of the other maps that have been rumored, and like I say, some of them could have been cut. We may potentially know more once the beta drops or once the final game drops, because because they might be in the files of the game and we can work out a better ordering. For example, for Black Ops 6, we thought at first that Janus Towers would be DLC 1, and it was the complete opposite as it ended up being the finale. So really it's too early to comment on the order right now. Let me know your thoughts on it all down in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.